In this lesson, let's talk about an important aspect called CloudTrail. In your organization, if you have an AWS account, you will be creating virtual machines. Maybe your team member is creating some S3 buckets, is someone else deleting EC2 instances because he's done with his job. But at the end of the month, you would like to know who is doing what. Basically, you would like to audit your AWS subscription. So that's how you will enable compliance, governance, and any kind of risk auditing for your AWS account. So CloudTrail is letting you monitor all the actions that are done by user accounts. And who are the user accounts in AWS? Well, they are the accounts created in your IAM, isn't it? So CloudTrail is letting you see the actions that are taken by different IAM users. So if somebody is deleting an S3 bucket, stopping an instance, restarting an instance, or any actions that are taken in your AWS subscription is captured by CloudTrail for you. Let's go ahead and jump into the CloudTrail console and take a closer look at it. Now, in my subscription during this lab demonstration, I've done several things. In the previous lab, I created an EC2 instance. There are a couple of dashboards that I created for CloudWatch. And as you see, all of them are audited right here. So it looks like somebody who stopped an instance. There's somebody who's adding dashboards to my CloudWatch. That's what we did in the previous lab. Somebody is starting an instance. There's somebody who's creating an instance, right? Now, there's a lot more details that you can see. If you click on this particular icon, you see a lot more logging information about that event. So let's take a closer look at creating security group action. Now, this event got triggered at the following time right here, and the source IP address is as follows. And who did it? Well, it's done by the root account, which is also an IAM account with the highest level of privileges. The event action is about creating a security group, which is hosted in US East 1, right? So these are the level of details that you get with CloudTrail. So nobody can escape from CloudTrail by deleting something from the S3 bucket or restarting that EC2 instance. The team members from governance, compliance, risk, and operations team really need this information so that they can track down the actions by administrators or other IAM users. All this information that you see is stored in the form of logs, and this is stored inside the S3 bucket. You can log these events and retain the account activity and all the related actions as well inside your S3 bucket in your AWS account. So this is more like an event history, and that will help you simplify any troubleshooting that you're doing, or probably tracking down some resources or doing security analysis in your AWS subscription. So essentially, if you have a requirement to track that actions that were taken in your AWS account, then CloudTrail is the service that will let you do that. All of this information that you see on the screen, all the events in the event history, like I said, they are stored in the S3 bucket, but it's very important to mark your S3 bucket as infrequent access because you're not accessing this information very frequently. It is required maybe once in a month, so make sure that you have the storage tier of your S3 bucket set appropriately. All the events inside your S3 bucket are stored for 90 days. So these will be overwritten on first in, first out basis. Now, as you see, these events are logged on all the activities that are happening, but you can go to trails and create your own trail for a specific set of actions. So once you give a trail name, let's say new new audit, and then you can apply the trail for all the regions or a particular region. You can also apply the trail for all the organizations or a single subscription. The next section is where you have more control on various kind of actions. Do you want to log read-only events, write-only events, or all the events, right? And do you want to log events related to KMS? Yes or no? How about events related to login sites? And all of this information then goes and sits inside an S3 bucket. So this is where you can go ahead and select the S3 bucket where this auditing information must go. Okay, so you can differentiate between S3 object level APIs. For example, any kind of get operations or put operations or delete operations happening or occurring at your S3 bucket will go inside, let's say, one bucket that I'm choosing here, and rest of the events can then just go into another bucket that I will select here, right? So all the audit information will then go into the bucket that I just created. Of course, you have the option to create your own bucket as well, and the audit information then goes into my bucket name called as audit bucket, okay? And finally click on create. But the objective here is to understand that you can audit every event and every action that is happening in your AWS subscription, regardless of your service, regardless of the AWS service that an engineer, administrator, or any IAM account is operating on. So that's all you need to know about CloudTrail. That's all for this lesson as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson.